Alien mother burned her clothes to keep her child warm. No clothes, no hope, until a human found them. The planet Zorth was a desolate wasteland, its surface scarred by endless storms of ash and ice. Once a thriving world, it had been ravaged by a cataclysmic event centuries ago, leaving its inhabitants to struggle for survival in the frozen ruins. Among the survivors was an alien mother named Kayla, a member of the Zorathians, a species with shimmering, iridescent skin and elongated limbs adapted to their once lush environment. But now, Kayla's world was reduced to a fight for survival, and her only concern was her child, Lyrian. Lyrian was small for his age, his fragile body struggling to adapt to the harsh conditions. His skin, once a vibrant blue, had dulled to a pale gray, and his large, luminous eyes were heavy with exhaustion. Kayla had done everything she could to keep him alive, but the cold was relentless. The temperature had dropped to unbearable levels, and their shelter, a crumbling structure made of ancient stone, offered little protection. One night, as the howling winds outside grew louder, Kayla made a desperate decision. She gathered the few belongings they had left, a tattered cloak, a pair of gloves, and a thin blanket. These were the last remnants of their former life, the only things that provided even a semblance of warmth. With trembling hands, she placed them in a small pile and ignited them with a flick of her energy crystal, a tool her people used to create fire. The flames crackled to life, casting a faint glow across the room. Lyrian watched in silence, his eyes wide with confusion. "Mother, why are you burning our clothes?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Kayla forced a smile, though her heart ached. "To keep you warm, my love," she replied, pulling him close. "The fire will protect us." But as the flames consumed their last possessions, Kayla knew the truth. This was a temporary solution. Once the fire died, they would have nothing left. No clothes, no tools, no hope. She held Lyrian tightly, her mind racing for a way to save him. Days passed, and the fire dwindled to embers. Kayla and Lyrian huddled together, their bodies trembling from the cold. Kayla's skin had lost its iridescent sheen, and her strength was fading. She knew she couldn't last much longer, but she refused to give up, not while Lyrian still needed her. Just as despair began to take hold, a sound echoed through the ruins, a low, mechanical hum. Kayla's ears twitched, and she lifted her head, straining to hear. The sound grew louder, accompanied by the crunch of footsteps on the icy ground. Someone, or something, was approaching. Kayla's heart raced. She had heard stories of the scavengers who roamed the wasteland, ruthless beings who would kill for even the smallest scrap of resources. She clutched Lyrian protectively, her mind racing for a way to defend him. But as the footsteps drew closer, she realized she was too weak to fight. The door to their shelter creaked open, and a figure stepped inside. It was not a scavenger. It was a human. The human was clad in a thick, insulated suit, its surface scarred and weathered from years of travel. A helmet obscured their face, but Kayla could see the faint glow of their visor as they surveyed the room. For a moment, there was silence. Then the human removed their helmet, revealing a face that was both weary and kind. "I didn't expect to find anyone alive out here," the human said, their voice soft but steady. "My name is Elias. I'm a scavenger, but I'm not here to hurt you." Kayla stared at Elias, her instincts warring between fear and hope. She had never seen a human before, but she had heard tales of their resilience and resourcefulness. Could this stranger be their salvation? Elias knelt beside the dying fire, his breath visible in the cold air. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small device, which he activated with a flick of his wrist. A warm, Golden light emanated from it, filling the room with heat. Kayla felt the tension in her body ease as the warmth seeped into her skin. "You're freezing," Elias said, his eyes filled with concern. He removed his outer jacket and draped it over Kayla and Lyrian. "Here, this should help." Kayla hesitated, then nodded in gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "But why are you helping us?" Elias sighed, his gaze distant. "I've been out here for a long time. I've seen too much death, too much suffering. If I can help someone, even just once, it makes it all worth it." Over the next few hours, Elias shared his supplies with Kayla and Lyrian, providing them with food, water, and medical aid. He explained that he was part of a small group of humans who had come to Zorth in search of resources, but the planet's harsh conditions had forced most of them to leave. Elias had stayed behind, determined to find something, anything that could help his people. As they talked, Kayla felt a glimmer of hope for the first time in years. Elias was kind and resourceful, and he seemed genuinely invested in their survival. But she knew their situation was still precarious. Without proper shelter and supplies, they wouldn't last long. "There's a place," Elias said, breaking the silence. "A settlement not far from here. It's not much, but it's safe. If we can make it there, you'll have a chance." Kayla looked at Lyrian, who was now sleeping peacefully under Elias's jacket. She knew the journey would be dangerous, but staying here meant certain death. "We'll go," she said firmly. "But will you come with us?" Elias nodded. "I'll see you there safely. You have my word." The journey to the settlement was grueling. The icy winds cut through their clothing, and the terrain was treacherous. But Elias guided them with unwavering determination, using his knowledge of the land to avoid danger. Along the way, he shared stories of his travels, and Kayla found herself opening up to him in a way she hadn't thought possible. When they finally reached the settlement, Kayla was overwhelmed by what she saw. It was a small community of humans and aliens, working together to survive in the harsh environment. They were welcomed with open arms, and for the first time in years, Kayla felt a sense of belonging. As the days turned into weeks, Kayla and Lyrian began to heal. The settlement provided them with food, shelter, and a chance to rebuild their lives. Elias stayed with them, helping them adjust to their new home. Over time, Kayla and Elias grew closer, their bond forged through shared hardship and hope. One evening, as the sun set over the frozen horizon, Kayla stood with Elias at the edge of the settlement. Lyrian played nearby, his laughter echoing through the air. Kayla turned to Elias, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You gave us more than just survival," she said softly. "You gave us hope." Elias smiled, his gaze warm. "We all need a little hope," he replied. "And sometimes it comes from the most unexpected places." As they stood together, watching the stars emerge in the night sky, Kayla knew that their journey was far from over. But for the first time in a long time, she felt ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had found a way to endure, and in the ashes of their past, they had discovered the embers of a new beginning.